Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino, Wednesday, April 10th, 2024. Post-market wrap-up. A lot of stuff to cover with you. I really do hope I get to cover it all here, but we'll at least go over the important things. We got a problem here. We need to evaluate this at multiple levels, actually, after looking at a lot of the data that's scattered all over my desk here. And I'm going to show you a few things just to bring you all up to speed as to what's happening here. But I mean, there's just no doubt that what we witnessed today with regard to action here in the debt market, the bond market, not good, not good at all after this surprise, shocking, nobody saw this coming. Inflation report coming in way worse than expected. I mean, look, come on, man, we're being lied to on a scale that I don't think we've ever been lied to before in the history of the world. I mean that. And it's just so freaking twisted. But before we cover all this stuff here, let me get my head on straight, and that means let me go over the market real quick. So we had a sell-off today. Nothing major here. Again, stop focusing on the major averages. With regard to the major averages, the Dow fell just over 1%. The S&P 500 fell just under 1%, about 0.0, about 9.5, something like almost 1%. And with the NASDAQ, 0.84. Okay, so nothing. Okay, whatever. We don't get corrections. We don't get pullbacks anymore. We were down a lot worse earlier. But of course, there were some bottom fishers, and they should be careful here. I'll be honest with you, because again, this action in the debt market is pretty profound sell-off. And the lack of buyers is what I really want to focus on with all of you in just a moment. But let's finish up here. Dollar today, pretty substantial knee-jerk higher there. Clearly a fear trade. The MMRI made a stupendous jump higher. Okay, follow that link in the description of this video, right, Carlos? Exactly. Thank you. Cryptocurrencies under some pressure here, gold and silver as well. Crude oil put on gains. Look, let me say this too. In light of what we are seeing here, and this shouldn't be any surprise to you if you follow this blog, because we covered this at the end of last year. I believe we're about to see a false flag. Okay, or should I say, a rapid expansion of war. They need a scapegoat. They're already setting it up here. Let's talk about that here. Let's regroup for just a moment. For those of you that have been with me for a while, you've heard me discuss money velocity. If you're new here, I want you to sit back for a moment and take this in. Right, Charles? Take in what I'm about to say. Up until 2020, okay, we had a historic low with regard to the rate at which cash moves through the economy. Okay, so we were sold the lie back then and before, of course, that the economy is booming and it's strong and we're killing it across the board. It's impossible to have a booming economy with the money velocity, again, all the rate at which cash moves through the economy at a historic low. Right, Don? Don knows what I'm talking about. Thank you. I have also said we are going to witness a moment where the money velocity starts to kick up. Okay. I've also explained that it wouldn't be because of the economy picking up. Now, what we are seeing here, again, please don't take my word for what I'm about to tell you. Look this stuff up for yourself here. The world economy is contracting at its fastest pace we've ever seen on record. That's a problem. So in theory, we should be seeing the money velocity lower or stay near historic lows. We're not seeing that right now. What I have said would eventually happen is because of the action of so-called presidents and leaders around the world colluding with the central banks, okay, pulling more debt into the now. Eventually, we would see a sell-off in the debt market, which we're starting to see now, and cash would start to move. In other words, all of this debt, all these extra bills, in whatever form they exist, would start to chase the same, or in this case, a lesser amount of goods, up goes the money velocity, or the rate at which cash is moving through an economy. Now, let me put another perspective on this for you. This is where it gets tricky and maybe a little complicated. So just bear with me for a moment. Many people have been asking over the last several years, why is it that we're not seeing skyrocketing inflation on the back of what governments around the world, so-called governments, but it's actually the central banks are doing, creating more debt, piling debt on. We're seeing global debt skyrocket at a rate we've never seen before. This is an uncharted territory. Okay. Now, there's a very good reason for that. And let me know if this makes sense to you. All this cash being pulled into the now by, let's just talk about the Federal Reserve colluding with whatever freak is sitting behind the Resolute desk. So far, since President imbecile Biden's tenure, we have seen the national debt rise over $4 trillion. Under Trump, it was $8 trillion. Under Obama, just over $8 trillion. So, I mean, this is an epic. What are we talking about? It's 16, 20, like 20, $25 trillion, 8, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21. It's an astonishing number in just the last 3 presidents. So why is it that we haven't seen inflation until now? Here's what I'm talking about. It takes a while when you have money velocity, or the rate at which cash is moving through the economy at a historic low. It takes a long time for the cash to start to move. So they can point fingers at each other all they want, and that's what they're doing right now, for which we're going to address in just a moment here. They won't point their fingers at the Federal Reserve. You have to understand, this is a game, and you and me are being played. They think we're stupid. They think we are imbeciles, but we're not, okay? Understanding the concept of cash creation, debt creation out of thin air, epic sums of debt being piled on, the money velocity being at historic lows. Now we're seeing this kick up here. Let me show you what this looks like, okay? This is a chart going all the way back to 1960 of the money velocity. Here's a historic low. Now we're starting to see it pick up here. This is not because we're seeing an economy get stronger. This is because we're starting to see all of this cash that has been created now chase the same, or in this case, a lesser amount of goods. Thank you to the current president. Thank you to President Trump. Thank you to Obama, and actually Bush before him. I mean, it goes back very far. The last 3 presidents have just taken the cake here with regard to pulling cash into the now, trying to say the economy is stronger. All this was an illusion here. More easy money pumped into the system, unbelievably suppressed rates. And now we're seeing this thing kind of turn around a little bit. So just think of what I'm talking about. It takes a while. It's an indeterminate amount of time for all of that cash that has been created, okay, borrowed into existence, via whatever mechanism they can come up with, colluding with whatever president is sitting behind the Resolute desk to create more debt, because that's how a central bank gains its power. Now we're starting to see that. That is very, very ominous. Very, very ominous, because if this really starts to get going, Jeffrey knows what I'm talking about. This really starts to get going. With regard to inflation, we haven't seen anything. Now let's talk further here about this. This is a very, very, I can't underscore this more, ominous sign for the debt market. And again, we witnessed a pretty significant sell-off today. MMRI skyrocketing. You got the 10-year yield skyrocketing. Now here, I want you to just read this here. Kelly, thank you. Racing, awesome. Look at this here. So this is ominous for a reason, okay? I have said, and you've heard this, and you've probably heard this before, the bond market is always right. Forget the stock market. Again, the stock market is going to do what it does. And the stock market, because you follow this blog, you understand how it operates. It's a derivative. It derives value from what's happening in the debt market. We're looking at the drivers, you and me, of the stock market. You understand? That's why we're looking at the 10-year yield, this inverted yield curve, which has preceded every single recession and depression, going back as far as you want to go. But they're trying to tell us how great we're all, and we're all rich, and we're doing fantastic. Anyway, totally not true. Economy, done. Worldwide scale, contracting at its fastest pace ever in history. And while debt is skyrocketing at its fastest pace in history. Now, the fact is no one wants to buy the debt. So somebody's going to have to step in here. I'm going to give you one guess as to who's going to do it. Let me say this. If the Fed doesn't take action, this whole thing is going to end but fast. Now, let me go on further. I have gone on record saying repeatedly, okay, that I believe the Fed is going to cut rates and soon, probably as soon as July, maybe June or July. Okay. I don't know if I'm actually willing to back off of that now, but we have to also be willing to change with what's happening. We are playing a game of incomplete information. Okay. We are doing our best, you and me, and I work on this around the clock, to try to put together the missing pieces. Again, we're never going to be privy to all the information, and it's obviously changing all the time. So with that, in light of what is happening here, okay, with the issue with debt market selling off here, profound move here, with the fact that no one wants to buy the debt, okay, this could turn out to be a nightmare very, very quickly. Now, I have said again, I've gone on record, I do not believe the meltdown will happen until after the presidential selection. We will have no election, okay? Just like last time. There was no election. There's no election here either. This is a selection, okay? Let's just establish that. We have no representation anymore. There's no accountability. The fact that the Federal Reserve, and this is just ridiculous. Let me show you this. It is not being held to account. This is the headline that is being flashed across CNBC, Bloomberg. This one happens to be Yahoo Finance. No one expected this, except you and me. We've been talking about how this is not going to stop. And it's not going to stop, especially in light of this, the money velocity now kicking up. And this is, again, we're seeing all of these extra bills finally start to chase, in this case, a lesser amount of goods. This is extremely bad, okay, just so you know. So we're going to need to see where this goes moving forward. But I want to enlighten you about a few other things here. So, this is another piece of news. No surprise. This is today to anyone who follows this blog. Debts and deficits hyper ballooning. This is all part of the madness that is currently going on. Okay. This is not going to stop either, in case you were wondering. Now, let's just move forward here as to the smoke screen or the how we're being lied to on an epic scale. So we got here President Trump blaming Biden for the raging inflation that we're seeing. What's missing from this? Now, keep that in mind. What's missing from here? And what's missing from this? This is a part of what's going on here. I unfortunately didn't print it on the same paper, but let's talk about this. So, of course, Biden, neither of these people here is going to tell you the truth. Just in case you were wondering, one's a truther, one's a not. They're both liars. And here's where it gets real here. So I'm just reading this verbatim. Former President Donald Trump and his allies pounced on these latest inflation figures, of course, the blame game. And Biden is saying, okay, all right, first of all, what's missing here and what's missing here? No finger pointing at the Federal Reserve at all. This guy, Trump, Biden, no one is going to tell you the truth. That this whole, look, let me tell you something. Biden is brain dead. Trump is not stupid. Trump knows exactly what's going on here. He's a businessman. He understands how cash flows through the markets. He is watching the debt market like we are. He knows who's responsible for this, but he can't tell you. He has to point his finger at Biden. Okay. And Biden has to lie to you even worse. Okay. Let's talk about that. So what Biden is saying here, okay, this is so disturbing to me. It makes me want to vomit right now. I'm actually getting nauseated. So Biden is saying that inflation, listen to this epic lie that probably is beyond belief. Inflation has fallen. Inflation has fallen 60% from its peak. This is not true. Inflation continues to rise. This is another bold-faced lie. Neither of these guys can possibly tell you the truth. You must be deceived. You must be distracted. Where do lies come from for all of you evangelicals out here? Both of these guys are playing on the same team, in case you don't know. All right, so forget about the whole savior concept from one of these freaks over here. Ain't happening, all right? So just get hip to the situation. Sooner you get hip to that, the better off you're going to be, because we have to take care of each other here, people. This is very bad, what we're seeing here. This bond market issue, the fact that we're seeing money velocity kick up here. And this is not because of a booming economy. That's what they're going to try to sell you. This is all of these extra bills that have been created out of thin air via the current administration, the last administration, and the one before that, finally moving, which we knew they would eventually. There's just no doubt about it. This can't be stopped. You understand? They want you to believe. Again, this is so disturbing to me. My blood pressure is going to go to the moon. When you and I were sold the lie that this was going to be temporary and transitory, or by some miracle, by the Federal Reserve or a central bank raising their overnight rate, inflation was going to miraculously turn around. We called this out from day one. We said it would never, go back to my videos, it would never work. It's not even meant to work. But that's what they're selling to people, because the people out there, frankly, are too stupid to know any better. And they know that. They know that. I'll tell you, people, it's so freaking out of control. So what we can expect here, okay, let me gather my thoughts a little bit. What we can expect here is war to expand and expand rapidly, and then they're going to use this as a scapegoat. We really may not make it through to, which has been my thesis, to the selection. All right, they may take this down sooner by some false flag. Count on it. We already know where this is going. I mean, we already know war is going to expand. More people are going to die. More people are going to suffer here. It's going to boil down to a resource problem. But again, the finger pointing, it's his fault. It's his fault. No, it's the central banks who have done this by design, and they all know it. But they don't think you know it. You see, they think you're too stupid. That's just clearly not the case. We're going to need to watch this, people. If we do see an uncontrolled sell-off in this debt market, that's the key. The key here is to see what's going to happen over the next, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks or so. If we don't see the 10-year yield starting to drop, if we don't see the dollar on a relative strength basis start to fall. Again, you see how the market responds to this negatively. Whenever we see the bond market sell off, we see the stock market follow. This can become so dramatic, so rapidly. Again, why do you think that you and I are hedged all over the place? Why are we holding hard assets, betting against the debt, becoming our own central banks here, gaining exposure to commodities? But let me tell you something real quick, in case you don't know this either. The market dynamics work like this. In a huge pan sell-off, which we are eventually going to get, I mean, by pan, I mean everything. Massive sell-off in the debt market, putting pressure on the stock market. That's how this is going to unfold. It's a time bomb, the debt market. Everything's going to fall with it initially. Everything. Including gold, including silver, including everyone runs to the hills at the same time. And then you get the turnaround here where cash is going to be, again, bleeding out of the debt market, putting pressure on the stock market, first taking everything with it, and then a tsunami of cash moving into real things, hard assets, gold, silver, platinum, palladium, commodities. And then where this can potentially go is mind-blowing on a grand scale, because of course, you know, the dollar and these central bank issued notes, they're all part of the debt too. They're going to lose purchasing power. Of course, you're going to get the knee-jerk into the dollar at first, but this is all going to change. This is why you and I are diversified, why we are spread out, why we are taking advantage of everything that comes our way. You understand? And understanding that we are being lied to, people, on a scale that we've never seen before. This bothers me, always bothers me. And for those of you that worship this man, Why can't he tell you the truth? Because he's waiting to be reselected, and then he's going to tell you the truth that it's the central banks of the world that are responsible? No way, no how. He didn't do it when he was president last time. In fact, he was calling for negative rates, and he wanted a weaker dollar. Does that tell you something? They have no power. They follow their orders like every people. This world is not run by presidents, kings, queens, or dictators. It's the central banks who control it all. They control the flow of information as well. I tell you, people, man, I really hope you're getting hip to this. I really, really do. Anyway, that's where we are. That's where we are, people. As I said, we covered this yesterday. JP Morgan, all right? The guy was criminal as well, but he did say one thing. Gold is money. The rest is credit or debt. And we're being buried here. We're being buried alive. And we got the freak show here that's responsible for it. All of them are. They all are colluding into this. And as I've been telling you, we got to have each other's backs through this, people. We got to have our backs. Where's Bitcoin going? All right, you know what? That's a great question. And let's cover some questions here before I get grossly bent out of shape. Bitcoin, in my view, is going much monumentally higher here. Again, the scenario is sell off in the debt market. Massive pressure on global stock markets here. Cash will just move into other things. And I do believe it's going to go into cryptocurrencies, gold, silver, platinum, palladium, commodities. It's just going to look for places to go as it always does. As it always does. Anyway, with regard to JEPI and JEPQ, look, man, I want to hold these things, even in the event of a wild, as long as they're paying me the dividend here and they don't cut that dividend on these, I want that cash flow. If I can get these cheaper, I'm all about that, people. But if you want to get out, look, you've done well here. If you got into JEPI when I did, you've done well. You've made money. You want to get out of this market? There is nothing wrong ever with pulling profits. Understand that. Look, I hate when imbeciles, and I'm going to say it straight out, imbeciles say, oh, you pulled profit too soon. There's no such thing. There's no such thing of pulling. If you pull, but this is what you're going to hear from people who have my lions know what I'm talking about here. There's no such thing ever as being wrong when you pull profit out of this market. Okay. Period. So let's just get that out of the way. You want to pull, if you made money in Bitcoin or crypto or any of the stock market, and you decide now it's time to pull, and you've made this, and then some idiot would it went to 100,000. You could have made more money if you held on. Who gives a damn? Okay, it's never wrong to pull profits. You can always reallocate back into it as well. Look, this is what people do. They take a profit, they reallocate it into something else. They don't sit there and be paper rich for the paper rich or on paper numbers. That they mean nothing until they become realized. You understand that? When you sell an asset at a profit, now it's become realized, and you can convert that into whatever the hell you want. Gold, silver, platinum, palladium, commodities, all that stuff, people. You know what I'm talking about. I hope so. Anyway, what else do you want, guys and girls, want to talk about? I've already covered metals. I'm not going to no guy on this planet here has done more, I think, to advocate for, again, my favorite asset on the planet, silver. Okay, it is the most undervalued. Just look at a few metrics, people. The Dow gold ratio, gold silver ratio. Where's the bottom of the Dow? Where's the bottom? We don't know. We know that the Fed stepped in here at Dow 6,000. Let's just say it's 6,000 is the bottom for the Dow. I believe we're going to get a 1-to-1 ratio. Gold, Dow, and a 15-to-1, maybe a 10-to-1 with regard to silver in a full-on meltdown. And that's where we're going. You don't think we're going to a full-on meltdown here? We've never seen anything like this before in the history of the world. This debt market, it's beyond a hyper bubble. We need a new definition. This just is nothing we've ever seen like this before. And, the fact that, this is profound to me. This here. No, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Where did I put it? Here, this. No one wants to buy the debt. Okay. And I'll tell you something else that bothers me about this. If in fact, again, the bond market, is always right. Okay, if that's the case here, and no one wants to buy the debt, that means that the debt market is anticipating this getting a lot worse faster. You understand? If the debt market were anticipating just dropping, the 10-year yield dropping rapidly, well, people would be piling in here. You understand? But that does not seem to be the case. This, of all the things I talked about right here, this should worry you the most. It worries me the most, I'll be honest with you. So that means you and I have to double our efforts in keeping our eyes on the debt market. Look, I hope I've been really clear on this here, especially with regard to money velocity and how it works. Why we haven't seen inflation, why we're seeing it now, okay? This should give you a big clue. All right, we're starting to see all those bills in whatever form they exist start to chase the same amount of goods or lesser. Trump can point his finger at Biden all he wants to, but he's a part of it as well. Again, Obama, over $8 trillion. Trump did almost the same thing. Trump almost inflated the debt as much as Obama freak. Okay. So he's just as responsible. Can't tell you that. He also cannot tell you that it's the Fed. He can't tell you that. You must be misled. You must be lied to. He thinks you're an idiot. Okay. But you're not an idiot. Not a single one of you that follow this blog is an idiot. You're way smarter than these people are. Way smarter. All right. I'm going to let you go because I'm freaking sweating and I'm probably going to have a heart attack here. Look, people, we got each other and that's key here. At least I think we have a good handle on all this and we're not going to change what we're doing here. Betting against the debt, becoming our own central bank. I think that's the best advice I have ever given in the history of my financial career. All I can say is that everything else is fluff. Everything else is fluff. Those are the keys to staying ahead of this, people. I think you all know that. Anyway, look, I want to thank all of you for being here. Wow, we got 738 thumbs up, people. I can't thank you enough for that. Again, it allows the algorithms to pick up the video. People need to hear this stuff, even if it hurts them, if it gets them angry, good. Let people get angry because they start to think, at least hopefully, okay? I may say things here that may aggravate people. Oh, no, Greg, you're wrong. But if you think about it, why are things the way that they are? Because we've been told a bunch of truths here, or have we been perpetually lied to? And we continue to be lied to here on an incredible scale. I don't know what else to say about all this, people. Anyway, all right, look, I will see all of you in the morning for my, of course, pre-market report. Until I see you in the morning, take care of yourselves and take care of each other, right? This guy here loves you a lot from the heart. I mean that, and I got your back. Count on it.